Welcome to Babies from Beyond, the podcast that gives all babies a voice, whether they are still in spirit or already earthside. I'm Lauren Dionysius, a former registered NICU nurse turned baby soul communicator, and I'm here to share the wisdom of today's babies to guide you on your motherhood journey. Okay, welcome back. So today we're continuing with these little tiny baby soul readings that I've been doing over the last few weeks, just to give you some insight into baby soul communication and what that looks like, sounds like, feels like. So we have another one for you today, and this time I have Renee here with me, and just letting you know that we have shared this episode with her full permission about her journey and her baby and children's souls. So just want to thank Renee for being here. And also, as you listen, I invite you to have your heart open and just be curious about what unfolds. And again, just reminding you that there's no right or wrong way to journey through motherhood. Every woman's journey is unique. Every baby soul has their own reasons, their own timelines, and their journey. So yeah, I invite you to stay open, be curious, and yeah, just see how this lands for you. Okay, Renee, thank you so much for being here. Would you like to share just a little bit about your motherhood journey and where you're at the moment?
Sure. I have a son who's 7. We've been trying to conceive our second child for about 5.5 years. Went through a long IVF journey, 5 or 6 rounds of IVF. Fell pregnant with one of those and ended up having a termination for medical reasons at 12 weeks with my second son, Mason. And for the last 15 months or so, we've been trying naturally and investigating natural therapies and things like that. And yeah, just wondering if there is a little baby soul waiting for us, waiting to come through, or if we should kind of close that chapter of our lives. And yeah, that's where we're at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you for sharing that. I know these journeys, especially these longer ones, can be long and hard and frustrating at times. And I'm sure many women listening will be able to relate to that as well. So before we get into the reading, as with all these sessions, I just like to be really open and transparent and just ask you, Renee, have we had sessions together before, any other readings?
Yeah, we've had 2 readings previously over the last couple of years, and I joined the Connecting with Confidence last year, also one of your courses.
Yes, thank you again for sharing that. And as I always say in these sessions, I never remember the details of the readings. They sort of come to me, and I'm very present with the information and feel it really strongly. But then after I do these sessions, it's my way of clearing my energy. Is I always send these babies back to their mothers. That's something that's important to me, and because of that, I very rarely remember any particular details. So yeah, as we go into today's session, I am going to take a moment now just to tune in and call the souls who want to come and communicate today into this space. And so I will be back in a moment. Okay, so now I'm back we'll go into the baby soul reading now. I've called in Renee's soul. I've called in the guides who are here to support us, and also any future and also present or past baby souls who want to communicate and have any wisdom to share in this space today with Renee. So Renee, is there any particular questions that you have or anything that you would like to focus on for today's session?
Just if there is another baby soul wanting to come through in this lifetime, and what that might look like, what if there's anything that we need to do or need to know of that could possibly be blocking that from coming through.
Mhm.
Any messages from Mason will be very welcome. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Because there were 3 souls who came through immediately when I connected just now. I always wait for the click that I feel when there's energies around who want to share. So I'm actually feeling to connect with them the way that they came through. So the first soul that came through, Renee, was actually your soul. So I'm feeling that your own soul has some guidance for you at this time around your journey. The second soul that came through is Mason. So we'll go to him after that. And then the third soul I felt was what I'm sensing will be a future soul, but I'm going to ask them directly first before I make those assumptions. I'm feeling today, this may change, but at the moment, like I'm not getting a strong read on Luca, your 7-year-old. So he may not be a part of today, but let's just see how it unfolds, because I feel like with 3 here, we'll have a lot to get through. So
Yeah.
So I'll start with that. So I'm going to start with your soul, because what I'm sensing is, okay. So I should mention that often in these readings, it's not just the baby's soul that can offer really helpful information. It's also your own soul as well. And so I'm really glad that Renee's soul came through, because even our own soul can offer so much guidance for our journey. So when I tune into Renee's soul, so this is her soul's energy, that part of her that is connected to her human body but mostly remains in spirit, comes and goes from the human body. What I'm sensing from her soul or what she's sharing with me, and this is no surprise with Renee being an adult, like the information that comes through with adult souls I find is generally a little easier and a little clearer to understand, because it's like having a conversation, because the energy is very aligned and attuned to the earth's energy, which makes things a little easier for me. So what I'm hearing from Renee's soul, and I'm feeling like I'm just going to allow Renee's soul to talk directly through me, so I'm not sort of in the middle. So let me just take a breath here and just feel into this. So you're at a time in your life where things are feeling bottlenecked for you right now, where there has been a restriction or some kind of narrowing of your own energy. So this is in relation to what I'm feeling for you, like, well, actually what I'm sensing from your soul is that it's in relation to particularly around work at the moment. It might not be a paid work, but it feels like it's work or something that you're doing like outside of the home. So with your soul's energy, there's this feeling of like, I'm getting this feeling like this, like a constriction. It's like when you're going down a road and the road goes from 3 lanes down to 2 lanes down to 1 lane, for example. So it feels like there's been a narrowing of this. And what I'm actually feeling from your soul is that it is in relation to your conception journey and the energy around IVF, and that there has been this, what your soul's sharing is this continuous but also quite small depletion of your own energy. And it's like this, it's like a bucket with a hole in it is how it's coming through. And that's starting postpartum with Luca, and then obviously everything you went through with Mason, and also the IVF and everything coming into this. So what your soul's guidance has for you right now, sorry, I've gone back into being like the middleman. Sometimes it's difficult for me to hold the energy of a soul to come through as well. So they'll just say little phrases like, what happened? I know now I'm back to being the translator. But yeah, so there's your soul wants you to acknowledge the, like, how much this is actually taken out of you. The effects, not just only physically, not just emotionally and mentally, but also physically. And that's why your soul has called you to start working more with some natural therapies, because there are some natural ways that you can really support your body in this time. Because what it feels like is, with your body feeling safe to conceive, say that level is here. And this is a physiological thing, kind of energetic, but also physiological. If the body does not feel safe, it'll be very difficult, if not impossible, to conceive. I feel like that's part of what's going on with your conception journey right now, is that your body it's in a state of depletion. And what's important for you is to top yourself up to kind of get back to this level so that your body feels safe again in order to conceive. So again, this is a very physiological process. It's not necessarily about where you are like mentally and emotionally with it all. Obviously that comes into it. But what I'm feeling now is that your body, when I tune into your body energetically, it almost feels starved. Not in a healthy way necessarily, but it's almost like I'm always trying to keep up, but it's like one step forward, two step backs is what I'm feeling, where it's like you may do something for yourself or support yourself or have some kind of, whether it's natural therapeutic support or whatever it may be, that can help top you up a bit. But then it's like your body is needing more than what you are currently giving it or allowing it to have. And this isn't a judgment, life is busy, right? And you have a son and life. So it's no judgment on you. Like, you're not doing anything wrong. But from your soul, there's this experience too. And what your soul's saying is that this is also part of your journey. This is what you came here to learn, that there are times, more than what you're doing now, when you have to move yourself up the priority list. No matter what anyone else thinks, no matter what's happening with time, there's times where you need to, and what I'm feeling is like regularly, as in every day, but it doesn't have to be, for an hour or anything like that. But it's like just finding like pockets every day where you can somehow give back to yourself. And what I'm feeling is, for you, it can be as simple as just taking a breath. Just taking a breath, like when you have that cup of tea or that cup of coffee or whatever you're drinking, just like, instead of trying to multitask with it, can you just take a moment for yourself, just to allow your body to catch up, is what I'm thinking. Because there's like all this forward momentum, and it's almost like when I tune into your energy and your physical body, there's a little bit of a disconnect there between your energy field, a little bit almost out of body, which can happen when when the body is kind of almost in survival mode. It's just going through the motions, it's doing all the things, it's ticking off the to-do list, it's all of these things that are important in our 3D world. But I'm feeling like, energetically and now physically, that is depleting you. I do feel like, again, this is guidance from your own soul around supporting your body physically with this, because it's moved from being like an energetic fatigue to now being more physical. So the way to meet that and to replete yourself or to re-energize yourself, it needs to start on the physical 3D human world. So that can be with food, it can be with vitamins, it can be with, things like naturopathy or, herbal things, tinctures, like all of those types of things that are going to meet this depletion on the physical level first. And then when that starts to rise, then more like alternative therapies or even things like acupuncture and things like that will then be more helpful. But I'm getting this really strong feeling like it needs to start with your physical body and move up from there. I'm just going to pause for a moment. Any questions around that? Does that make sense? Does it not make sense? How does that land for you?
I think it really resonates. I've been on the natural therapies route for a while, so I kind of just keep adding layers. But when you said to stop and kind of eat or have a cup of tea and not do anything else, I think that's really where I need to start. Especially the last couple of months, I feel like I've just been eating on the go and kind of not taking even just those small breaks. So I think, that really resonates, and trying to get to bed earlier and stuff like that, and looking after my physical being.
Absolutely. It's all those things that can be challenging, but like the sense I get now that you've shared that is, it's like you're trying to run before you can walk. because like alternative therapies are great and all of these things, like I love them and use them myself. But if we don't have some of like those basic foundations there, as you're saying, it's just adding layers, or it's not going to be its most effective if you haven't got some of those foundations. And it's not about getting it perfect. It's not about eating 100% clean all the time, or like, it's not about anything strict or controlling or anything like that. It's like, but asking yourself, how can I make this simple for me? Because when it's simple and it's easy, we tend to do it. If we make it more complicated, we're not going to do it. If you suddenly just say, I'm going to go to the gym every day for 2 hours, it might work for a few days, and it's too much. Like it's too much control. It becomes complicated, difficult, all of these things. So it's also, what I'm feeling for you is like tuning back into like what you enjoy. Do you even like the tea that you're drinking or the coffee that you're drinking? Or are you just drinking it because it's in the cupboard and you forgot to get what you like at the supermarket? Or, things like that is coming back.
Because it's what I should be eating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Should is a bit of a dirty word. I think it can be. Yeah. Look, we all know kind of what we should and shouldn't eat. But at the end of the day, if we're going to beat ourselves up for a decision that we make, then, and again, it kind of overrides at least some of the benefits, or it can do, like on an energetic level. So I'm feeling, from your soul, it's like this bit of just this little poke, like all of these other things are great and they're going to help and they are helping. But we need to just like drop back with the basics and drop into some of those simple things like, eating, drinking, sleeping. The three main things. Even things like, I don't know why this is coming up, but like there's also just a little reference to even like how you're dressing. Are you too cold? Are you too hot? Are you not taking something warm so you don't have to like carry it around with you? Or are you overheating? But I don't know, there's something there too around wearing what you want to wear. I don't know, that hasn't really come up before. Like I'm not, but it's just something there. It's just to be mindful of around, again, like what feels right for you, what feels nourishing for you, even down to your clothing as well, and decisions around that. Or is it just that you've thrown this on because you haven't had time to do the washing or the ironing, and this is what's left, whereas it's like, well, you could just wear the thing that's not ironed if it makes you feel more comfortable. So I don't know, there's just some really little things like that, going back to basics. Any questions around that, or anything that you want to ask your own soul before we move on to Mason?
No, I think you've summed it up pretty well. I kind of got, while you were talking, like, I've been trying to tell you this and I haven't been listening. So
that's okay.
That's okay. Instead.
That's okay. Sometimes we need the messages to come to us from a different angle or from another person. And sometimes we do need things on repeat before we get the message. So that's totally fine. It happens to all of us. All right, so let's now move on to Mason. And like the first thing that comes through around him, and again, I can't remember our previous readings around him, but I do know that we have connected with his soul in the past. So what I'm feeling with his soul, there's actually I want to start first by saying like his soul's energy feels very light, very peaceful, very joyful, and actually very playful. Like I'm feeling a lot of playfulness coming in around his energy, because he's kind of what he's just shared with me is that he's also been trying to tell you this, or he's been trying to help you with this or support you with this in some way as well. So it's like you'll get the message, you'll eventually get the message, but there's this joy or this amusement that I'm finding from his soul's energy around this topic as well. So that's the first thing that comes through around him. The second thing with him is he is like, well, actually this was the first thing that come through, is that, you know, just saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you is the energy that I feel from him. And there's this real sense of like gratitude, and I know that it was really difficult and I can't even understand what it was like for you, but I want you to know that I'm free, I'm at peace, I'm playful, I'm joyful, I'm all of these things. And thank you for setting him free. So this very often happens and comes up when it comes to the loss of a baby, whether it's termination or miscarriage, but particularly in termination, because it's a decision that is made. But I have said this in other episodes, but I will say that I've never ever connected with a soul, and Mason's no exception to this, that has any kind of resentment, blame, anger around decisions that were made to terminate these souls' pregnancy. And again, I can't remember what he said last time, but I just get this strong feeling from him that yeah, he knows, he understands the journey that he went on, the journey that you went on. And again, I get the feeling like, well, when we last connected with him, it obviously would have been a lot sooner or a lot earlier after the termination. But this time, I guess with more time going by, yeah, he's saying that his energy has shifted. He's been able to integrate the experience. He's now fully back in spirit for the moment, and is learning a lot. He says that he's learning a lot around what it means to feel stuck, because on a soul level, his soul felt really stuck in that body. Actually, it's not even like a stuckness. It's a feeling of like not even being able to come all the way in, not really being able to land. So it's this kind of feeling between like I'm stuck in there, but also I can't get in there enough either. And I feel that was also part of, because of the physical body and what was going on there, which I don't know or can't remember the details, but is this sense of his soul was allowed to come a certain way in, but then the development of his body and the growth prevented his soul from coming in any further, which would have led to, if the soul is unable to fuel the body, then in my experience, and I can only say this for my experience, I can't speak for every single situation, but in my experience, the soul's energy is needed for growth and development of the baby. So if a soul can't come in enough, then that baby's body is unable to develop. So what I'm feeling from Mason is just this, like I feel like he's understanding it more as part of his integration process. He's understanding more, as I mentioned, around that feeling of being stuck, and also what he needs for his journey here, and also being more clear is what it feels around the body that he needs for this life. He's going to talk about his future actually, but any questions around that, Renee, or anything you'd like me to clarify?
No, I think just at the beginning you said about his joy around this topic. What did you mean by that?
The joy for him is around the freedom, and it's this sense of and this is the contrast that he experienced in his journey, is like this feeling of being stuck and sort of a bit trapped, a little bit like he was sort of, yeah, as I said, stuck. I don't know how else to describe it. But now there's this feeling of expansion and the joy that comes with that, the joy with freedom, the joy with no longer being stuck. And there's a lightness as well. You know, the earth is, and he's sharing this, like the earth is very heavy energetically, and we all know that. We just got to look around or whatever, and we know that the world is a heavy place right now. But for these souls coming to earth, they feel it a lot more intensely than what we do, because we've been here for however long we've been here. So yeah, does that make sense? That's where the joys come from. It's come from the freedom, the return to spirit, and also being able to look at his experience from a higher perspective and also be able to learn from that as well. That's what I feel he also has really noticed or observed is I understand more about the coming into a body and what that feels like, and then the leaving of the body and the expansion and the joy that also comes from that as well, which can be hard for us humans to understand because we obviously the death of a baby is absolutely devastating and heartbreaking, and we need to honor that and acknowledge the very real process around that. But the soul has a very different perspective on death than what we do. And that's why I love connecting with these souls, because they can share that and they can show us that and they can help us to, again, not to cover up our own feelings, but help us to see and feel what they're feeling, which can just help to soften our edges a little bit. Yeah, does that help to clarify things?
Yeah, definitely. Same word.
Yeah. But no, he's feeling, as I said, he feels very light, joyful, happy, content, curious. You know, he's still hovering around. He's still watching on, is what he just said. Like, I'm watching on. I'm seeing what's happening. I'm seeing what's going on. I'm still around. But right now, I'm content with where I am. So now going into feeling to connect with this third soul. I just wanted to feel with Mason. I always like to ask these souls if they have plans to return, because many souls who do come to the earth and then leave again through loss, many of them will return, some of them won't. It's very like individual. I always just like to check in with this soul. I'm not feeling at this time, as I guess I kind of answered it in the last little bit I said, where it's like he's content where he is. So right now, I'm not feeling like he is planning to return at this time. He's not sort of saying yes or no for the rest of your life, but what I feel now is that he doesn't have any plans to come back immediately or soon, which is interesting because I do feel the presence of a third soul. But just like, I'm just curious, like in other readings that we've done, has there anything come up around that, around whether he was planning to return in this life? Can you remember if that?
Yeah, you did say in the last reading that he was planning to, but you did say that he was planning to come through via IVF, and I said that we weren't planning to go down that road anymore. And you said, well, that shifts the timelines. Yeah.
That's interesting because that sort of lines up with what I'm feeling. There's this, it's not an absolute no never, but it's like a not now is kind of how it feels. And because I am feeling the presence of this other soul, which I'm going to go to now. And this soul is much more, has been kind of quiet, kind of sitting in the background. It does to me feel like a masculine feeling soul. And again, curious, like in other readings, has another soul kind of come onto the scene that you can remember?
Yes, I think in the first reading, you definitely had another soul there, but it seemed, I think, quite far away.
Far away. Okay. All right. Well, it may or may not be the same soul as that reading, but I'll just go with what I feel now. I think my own skepticism, I'd say, or my own, I like to kind of cross-check myself at times as well. But yeah, what I'm feeling is the presence of this masculine feeling soul. So with the timeline shifting, and this is something that does often happen as well, not everything's set in stone like we might think it is. And we do make decisions that can impact the different souls who are coming to Earth at different times. And it's not, and I also want to say too that we can't get this wrong. You know, I don't believe that when it comes to like souls and coming to earth and coming into a human form and all of these things, that incarnation process. I do believe it's orchestrated. I don't understand how or why, but in a space or in a dimension that's much higher vibrationally than our earth world. And so things can and do change. So yeah, I'll just want to spend a little bit like connecting with this masculine soul. So I'm feeling, as I said, this masculine feeling soul. He's been pretty quiet, but he was there like right from the beginning. It's just that I've waited to last to get to him. Again, I'll call it a him. That not indicative of the biological sex, as I often share. I'm just sensing the energy of this soul. And what I'm feeling from this soul, the first thing he's actually just saying to me now is like, don't forget about me. So that to me shows that he may be sensing your, either feelings or thoughts or considerations around, giving up and sort of settling into, we'll settle with, not settle, that's not the right word, but we'll close the door and we'll be happy and grateful with Luca, and we won't. Yeah, sorry, it's just like communicating as well, so it sort of stopped me mid-sentence. So I'm just go with him. So this soul is not interested in IVF actually, which is really interesting. It's like I don't understand it. It's something new for me. I don't love the idea of it, is what he's saying, which is interesting because most souls I work with are really curious about IVF. But he's quite clear. He's like, no, that's not what I need. And he's kind of seeing it. It's interesting, like his energy, again, there's a similar playfulness that kind of reminds me of Mason's energy. This sense of almost like I'm up for the challenge as well, is like what I'm sensing. So this soul feels like a frequent flyer to earth, a soul who's come here many times before. He knows the drill, understands the process, is very familiar with earth and what it's all about. So that's something he's saying is going to help support me. From his side, he's going somewhere where he feels that it's familiar to him and his journey. He knows the journey. He's saying he's also going to use that energy to support the process of conception as well. Because I do feel like he's showing me that there's like some different fences up, like there's not blockages, but it's just like, it's like an obstacle course, or the hurdles that he needs to jump over. And he's saying that he's like literally showing me, they show me the weirdest images, but it's like this is actually showing me, interestingly, a picture of like this little boy with like on one of those, I don't know what you call them. There's like a big spring and he kind of like bounce up and down, which is so funny because when I first tuned in at the beginning of this, I forgot to mention it, but I kept feeling like a bounce, like a spring. It's like is kind of bouncing energy. So I wasn't sure which soul it was when I was calling them in, but it's like he arrived on one of those. I don't know if they still make them, but it's like this big like plastic ball. It has these two handles and you kind of like jump up and down on it. I think it was something from like the 80s or something. I don't know if they still make those. Oh, really? Like, I feel like that's kind of if I need to like, yeah, it's kind of like if you needed to like sum up his energy, that's kind of what it is. It's like this bouncing thing, which shows me that one, he has energy. Two, he's kind of, I think symbolically is like, I can jump over obstacles. Like I can bounce over these things. I can jump over these things, which shows to me that he wants to come. He's willing to come. He's willing to, as I said, he's bringing a little bit of extra oomph with him to help jump over these hurdles. But again, it comes back to, what your soul was saying, that you kind of need to meet him halfway with that. He said he can't jump your hurdles. He can only jump his hurdles, and the energy of the earth he has no problems with. But he says where he's asking you to, I guess, step up a little more is around the things we talked about at the beginning, more like the self-care, the basic coming back to the foundations for your physical body, and for, again, your body feeling safe to conceive, or nourished enough to be able to conceive. Okay, it's all just stopped, but is there any questions or anything that you want me to share around that?
No, I think it all resonates. I feel what you've said here, kind of, and it sounds a bit silly, but
no.
Yeah, I don't know, no questions at all. I feel like that's the message that needed to come through, and there's nothing else.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. That's how I feel as well. What often happens is the information will stream through, and then suddenly it'll stop. It's just like, it just literally all stops. So that's usually a sign like, okay, we've said what we've needed to say, and the frequencies have kind of been able to meet in the middle and connect, and now I feel like I'm coming back more into my body and more human, and I feel like they're sort of heading back in their direction. So yeah, so how do you feel after that? I mean, you've already kind of mentioned a little bit, but yeah, is there anything you wanted to add around how you're feeling, or how that landed for you?
I'm feeling much calmer, and just kind of like I can take a deep breath now. I've kind of felt a bit stuck the last few weeks, couple of months, and almost like someone's trying to tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, like, wake up, but it's almost like I couldn't really hear the messages. And I kind of feel like I can, just take a deep breath and go, okay, I've got some direction, and kind of affirmed what I've been feeling. But after 5.5 years, I've been questioning it, like, so to get that confirmation that there is a little soul out there waiting for things to be right is very affirming. So thank you so much for that.
You're so welcome, Renee. I feel so privileged to be able to share these messages, because sometimes we do just need a little bit of confirmation of what we already know, or like someone to like tap us on the shoulder and just bring through something that can help to shift things like energetically. So yeah, thank you so much, Renee, for being here, for being open to receiving this reading, and also to allow me to share this publicly as well, because I know that there'll be many women who really resonate with your journey around, the length of time taking to conceive, and that feeling of wanting to give up, or feeling like you're waiting for something that isn't going to happen. So, but as I said today, like I feel the presence of this soul strongly. So yeah, thank you. And I want to thank this soul as well. I want to thank this soul for sharing his wisdom, his insights, his messages. Also Mason's soul as well, for giving us some more insights into his journey around coming to the earth and then leaving again. And also Luca's soul, who I felt was like, I felt him there, but just like, I don't really have anything to say, but I just want to honor his journey as well to earth, and thank him for being here. Thank him for coming to the earth when he did as well. So yeah, if you're listening and this stirred something in you, again, this is just a little glimpse of baby soul communication and what it can look like, sound like, feel like. So if you're interested in learning more, please check the links in the show notes below, or head over to bornenergy.com.au. Thank you for tuning in to Babies from Beyond. If you've enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to leave me a review just wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, head over to Instagram and give me a follow at Born Energy, and check out the show notes for more ways that you can connect with your baby's soul, including one-on-one readings and online programs to support you. Until next time, trust your journey and your baby. Take care.